Hello, my name is Greg Larson. This is The Greg Larson Show. You can support me on Patreon, patreon.com/Greg Larson, Larsen, not O-N. And that helps me out. If you like this podcast, if you like my comedy and you want to give me some money, get on there. I was banned from Patreon, but I'm back because I fought the system and won. I'm also doing a bunch of live shows all around Australia. I should have got the website up that you can go to. Go onto my Instagram and there's links in the bio. But also, I'm going to click on that link in the bio now, and then it'll tell you where to buy tickets. My new show is called Unrelenting Ultraviolence, and you can go to comedyrepublic.com.au/Greg-Larson-Australian-tour. Or just look on the website, Comedy Republic website. Look on my Instagram, Greg Larson on Instagram. My new show is called Unrelenting Ultraviolence. I'll be in Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney. Tickets announced soon for Brisbane. I'm doing a trial show in Brisbane on February 26th. That's not on that website, but you can get it on my Instagram. There's a bunch of shit. Look me up, fucking please. And come and see me do live shows. Anyway, love you.
The Greg Larson Show. The big unit is ready to go. The Greg Larson Show. Muck around on the marzipan. A fresh custard in his hand. The greatest podcast in all the land. Greg Larson Show. Yeah. Great, just what we need, another podcast show.
Welcome to the Greg Larson Show.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
I am sitting in my room recording an episode of this podcast, as I do whenever I record an episode of this podcast. I recently had a victory that I have talked about where I defeated Patreon.com in battle, in single combat.
Police are still searching for the man who shot and killed the CEO of United Healthcare Wednesday morning in the middle of Manhattan.
I had a problem with Patreon. I'll go into that towards the end of the episode. But I just thought, you know what? I go on a lot about taking on the man, about getting up to the ombudsman, taking the fight to the man. I have won in my life. I have won a lot of battles, many of them insignificant, almost all of them insignificant and or trivial, but I don't care. And I want to tell you about the battles that I've won, some of the battles that I have won. I want to go through some of the legal battles that someone with a operational genius level IQ has won. And maybe that can serve as some inspiration for you in this bloody hectic workaday world with bloody Trump and bloody, Beverly Housewives. What is it? New Beverly Hills Housewives of Beverly Hills. I don't know why I brought that up. My partner watches Beverly's Housewives. There's a lot going on, isn't there? Sometimes you feel stressed. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed. And I thought maybe you see in the news all these stories about bad times happening. But what about sometimes that the good guys won? I'm the good guy. I want to tell you a few little stories, but I want to have a big disclaimer lest I be banned from Patreon again. I am not, none of what I tell you, specifically, do not do anything that I've done. I'm telling you that now. Don't do anything I've done. Don't take any advice I say, literally. Do not do it. I'm just telling you the things I've done and the battles I've won. all these things that I've done. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. I got soul. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. All these things that I've done. The Killers. That's a Killers song.
Daddy, hello.
I want to give you a factual accounting of all the times that I have beaten the man. But this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. Do not listen to me. Do not listen to me. Do not listen to me. And anyway, welcome to the battles that I've won. Let's get into it.
Israel is committing genocide. Israel is committing a genocide. Israel is an apartheid state.
Prime check on boycott Israel. Prime check on boycott Israel.
I would say the first major battle that I won was when I was in a rental property, and it was against what was the name of it? I actually wonder if it still exists. I feel like it was. I won't say it out loud in case I'm wrong. Dracos Real Estate. So I was in the first share house I ever lived in. It was kind of like an ex-halfway house. Literally, it was an ex-halfway house. It was in West End in Brisbane, back in the days when, you know, a person on the dole, and I literally was on the dole, could afford to rent in a share house somewhere in the country of Australia. And I was in West End in Brisbane in this ex-halfway house. And the halfway house, it's sort of hard to describe, but essentially it's not that hard to describe. It was an old Queenslander home, an old wooden home, and it was split into two flats, basically, two units. One was a 2-bedroom, one was a 1-bedroom, with a wall separating them. That's how flats work. But it was one single big home, and there was a shared downstairs, basically like I guess you'd call it a garage, but it's just under the house, and there was a shared under the house area where we would we kept random items. I had a beer brewing kit down there, and I made one batch of beer, and then everyone said they got a real bad headache from just drinking one. You just drink one beer and you get a really bad headache, but we kept drinking it, and yeah, it was really terrible. And it was a shared under the house area, except the guy who lived in the flat next to us didn't use it at all. He literally didn't use it at all. We both had access to it, but he didn't use it. But he was cool with it. He didn't care. We said, "Oh, do you need, more space in here?" And he's like, "No, I don't care. I don't use it." So there's this under the house storage kind of area. We once had a party. I had a Halloween party in there because my birthday always falls around Halloween, and I was full goth. So that was my thing. And we had a Halloween party there, and someone I know managed to get dry ice, and then we put dry ice in a container, so there was all this mist on the ground at this Halloween party in the under the house area of my house in West End, and it was real bad. It was a bad party. Hardly anyone came. But anyway, I lived in this place. It was shitty. It was run down. It was real bad. People would often inject what's called heroin in our backyard. That would often happen. We'd often find needles and bent spoons and such forth and what have you. And there was a few times where, there was one time where there was a guy sort of trying to kick down the back door, and I was home alone, and he was kicking the back door down or trying to kick the back door down. And I was like, "Oh, who are you?" And he's like, "I'm going to fucking kill you. You're going to die tonight." He was real fucked up. And that was the first time I ever called Triple O. I was like, I don't know what to fucking do, but I feel like this guy's bad. And that was also the time that I realized if you call Triple O for police, they don't come. They don't come. I've called him a few times in my life. A couple of times, I reckon 3 times, when something terrible was happening. One was a guy trying to bash into a neighbor's house. Again, screaming he was going to kill. There's a lot of dudes trying to bash into houses screaming they're going to kill you. He was screaming that he was going to kill whoever was inside. I have no idea who was inside. He was like, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to fucking kill you. You can't do this. He clearly knew them. This guy that was bashing onto my back door, he didn't know, I didn't know him at all. He didn't know me. He was just, on a little bit of methamphetamines probably. But this was like a sort of a well-dressed man bashing on the front door and then smashing the front window of someone else's house, saying he was going to kill them if they didn't let him in. And he clearly knew who they were. Anyway, long story short, called police, called 000 twice. And just no one came, and he ended up just falling asleep. He just tired himself out, the angry man. He was very big and very angry, and I was, a pudgy 19-year-old or 20-year-old at the time. But anyway, this is all a side note to say the cops are dogs. I lived in this share house, and that was the first time that I realized that all real estate agents are scumbag pieces of shit and cannot be trusted. Because they really made us feel like, everything was cool. It was a shit box house. Like, it was absolutely filthy when we moved in. The carpet was just like, it wasn't really, I wouldn't describe it as carpet. I would describe it as like sort of patchy rags half stuck to bits of the floor. And I was fine with that. I was fucking 19. I just moved out of home. I was, on the dole. I didn't give a shit, right? And when we moved out, that was when we found out that landlords and real estate agents are all scumbag dogs. Because we moved out and we said to the guy who lived in you remember how I said it was 2 apartments? There was a guy that lived in the other apartment. We said to him, hey, do you mind if we leave some stuff down in the shared area because we need to get a bigger car and come back and get it later. Just a few boxes, basically. It was a few boxes, including my beer brewing kit. And he said, yeah, that's fine. And we said, yeah, if for any reason someone comes around, just say it's your stuff or whatever. We're basically lending it to you. Like, you have ownership over this, shared space as well. Would you mind if we left it there? He was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. No worries at all. No problem at all. We move out. A week later, we go back to get our stuff. It's gone. We go into the real estate agent and we're like, hey, what's going on? Our stuff is gone. And he's like, oh, yeah, we are charging you $200 in the bond for carpet cleaning because the carpets weren't cleaned. And we're charging you $200 for rubbish removal because there's all this stuff down in the basement. And this was the first battle I entered into in my adult life.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
I just said, no, give us all the bond back. And then he went, okay. That's literally I'm not really exaggerating. That is pretty much as easy as it was because the carpets were just scraps of rags. And I literally said to him, do you have a receipt for the carpet cleaning? And then he immediately said, actually, don't worry about the carpet cleaning. Then I said, the stuff down in the basement was shared and you've chucked away our stuff. Like you've chucked away our stuff. Like we asked the tenant if we could leave it there and he said yes. And then he went, oh, don't worry about it. And then we got all our bond back. It was as simple as that. He wasn't even going to put up a fight. This is what they do, right? Half the time, landlords and real estate agents, they'll just see what they can get away with. And they're not even willing to put up a fight. If you just question it even just a little bit. And this goes for all companies, right? I specifically asked him this because my uncle once had a rental car. And he had a rental car for work purposes that his job was paying for. And he rented the car. He accidentally had like a little bit of a scratch, a tiny scratch on the side, but a scratch that was big enough that he was like, oh yeah, there's a scratch on here, blah, blah, blah. And they said, okay, well, we're keeping $1,000. That's the excess, right? We're charging you $1,000 excess for the insurance. My uncle didn't give a shit because it was work paying for it. And he said, oh, cool. I just need a receipt for my work so that they can see that the repairs were done, so they can put through the $1,000. And they said, oh, no, we don't have a receipt. And he said, well, I need a receipt. If you've fixed it up, then I need a receipt to show that we've fixed it up, and then we can pay the $1,000. And they said, actually, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the $1,000. We're all good. Because they didn't fix the scratch, right? There's so many places that will try and scam you out of money with minimum effort. Absolute minimum effort. And they don't even give a shit that much. If you just say one thing, they'll go, don't worry about it. 9 times out of 10, and this is true of all the places I have lived, I don't think I've ever left a rental property where they haven't at some point tried to take something from the bond, right? I think almost every single one, not every single one, but almost every single one, they've tried to charge me for something that was bullshit. Like they might have said, we're keeping money for carpet cleaning. And then I provide a carpet cleaning receipt and they go, don't worry about it. Then that's what I'm saying. Every single time my real estate agent has said, we're keeping some of the bond, I've just put up the most minimum of pushback and they've immediately relented. I have never gone to VCAT for bond issues and I've always gotten my bond back, except for one time when I was so stressed that I couldn't be bothered and she charged me $200 because there was cobwebs on the outside of the building and I'm to this day, it makes me so fucking mad that I relented. I fucking hate them. That was Inner Urban Real Estate. I think they've gone out of business now, so fuck them. Anyway, real estate, battle 1, fuck you.
I am a fuckhead.
We believe that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center in New York.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Another battle I've won was against Centrelink. That's right, Centrelink, the Centrelink. Centrelink, suck my dick. I want to battle against Centrelink because I technically owed Centrelink something like $3,000. Right? Now, I know what you're thinking. Robo-debt or some other kind of debt from Centrelink. Wrong. You're wrong and stupid.
Here we go.
You don't know. What does that affect? 1, 2. I've got an effect on it. It's not doing anything. That's crap. That's crap. That's crap. What does this do? That does nothing. The effects have all changed. I've updated the firmware. That's why.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Ho, ho, ho.
I won a battle against Centrelink because Centrelink said I owed them money, not from Centrelink payments. No. From being paid as an employee of Centrelink. That's right. I worked for them. I worked for Centrelink for a bit. I had a job at Centrelink in the call center. I was in a Centrelink call center. It was a temp job, temporary but full-time hours position. And anyone who's ever worked in a call center would know that in a call center, they'll often try and get rid of all the calls. Like there'll be a number on the board, for example, saying we've got 50 people waiting on hold, and they'll be like, we got to clear that board. We got to get people. We got to get calls completed. There'll be metrics and all the rest of it. Centrelink, it's exactly what you reckon. They fucking don't give a shit, and the number on the board is like 10,000. It's not 10,000. It's like I think it's a couple of thousand. Like you look up at the board and you just see this massive number, and they don't even think, we could try and get to. No, they're just like, nah. There's always going to be calls. Who cares? And also, everyone who works at Centrelink, I can say this based on my 2 month, 3 month, however long the fuck I was, a few months. Based on the time I was there, everyone who's there for any extended period of time, they don't give a shit about anyone or anything. And I sort of understand. Like, it completely numbs you out, right? It's like teaching or nursing or something like that. When you're constantly dealing with, it's a great profession. It's a noble pursuit. But at the same time, you're dealing with people at their worst all the time. And Centrelink was the Centrelink call center is just, you sit there, there's 1,000 people on hold, they're all pissed off and with good reason, and you get to them, and I reckon 1 out of every 10, the first thing they say is "fuck you, cunt, you fucking cunt, give me my money, cunt," and you're like, oh. So you're just in this job where people are just going fuck you, fuck you, fuck you constantly, and I get why they're pissed off because I've been on that other end of the phone. And you're sitting there, and all the people who have been there for ages, they don't believe anyone for anything. They don't. All my job at Centrelink was to basically reschedule appointments and process advance payments. That was my entire job. And there was no training whatsoever. We had, I say there was no training. We had 3 days of training, but all that was telling people, if you could be any animal, what would you be? And this one guy called Keith, who was completely hairless, said he would be a kangaroo because they're mysterious, and everyone laughed. And then for the next 3 months, he would constantly keep making references to the mysterious kangaroos, trying to get a laugh, and no one laughed at him. And he used to get changed at his desk. At lunch, he would say, "Oh, I'm going to go work out," and he'd get changed at his desk. He'd strip down completely to his undies and then put on workout clothes, completely hairless, and he was 5 feet tall. And one time he went to lunch and then was an hour late coming back and said he was mugged and he had to make a police report. But I know that he wasn't mugged because I saw him where he walked to. I saw him walking, and there's no way he could have gotten mugged and then done a police report in that amount of time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was a liar. And we had we had no training, right? We just did getting to know you exercises, and then suddenly we're on the phones dealing with people, and so many people are like, "Oh, I just cut my fingers off intentionally. If you don't give me any money, I'll cut another one off." And you'd be there with a senior person listening, and they'd be on mute going, "They're not serious. Everyone says shit like that. I don't care." And you'd listen in on calls, right, where you'd listen in on a manager's call, and someone's like, "I can't make the appointment. My mum died today." And she's like, "Do you have the death certificate?" And he's like, "I don't know how to get that." And she's like, "Well, your payment's been cancelled." They don't give a shit. They fucking hate every single person that calls up. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know if that was just the case of that one Centrelink I worked at. I'm not going to try and paint all Centrelink workers as bad. It's a noble profession if you can actually, not have your humanity completely destroyed by the system that grinds everyone up into a fucking pulp. But that Centrelink, I worked at the call center. I remember there's this one woman, I forget her name, but we used to call her 2-liter Coke lady because she always had a 2-liter Coke bottle that she would just drink. She'd just drink a 2-liter Coke a day. But it definitely wasn't just a 2-liter Coke a day. That was what she drank during work hours, and she'd just have the 2-liter Coke bottle. And I remember there was one week where heaps of people were off sick, tons of people got sick, and the floor manager said, "Hey, let's have a morning tea where we focus on healthy foods, let's get into it, healthy habits." And he said this round in an email, and then she clicked reply all and said, what if we have a naughty but nice, where we have some healthy morning tea items and some, chocolate brownies and stuff like that. And he goes, "Okay." And then she brought all these chocolate brownies and ate them all. Anyway, I worked at Centrelink. It was a very stressful job. I very much hated it. The pay was pretty good. And I did it in between being on Centrelink. I had finished uni. I was on the dole. Then I was on then I was working at Centrelink. Then I was back on Centrelink. And when I called him up, I had to be like, my last job was you cunt. But I was working at Centrelink as an employee of Centrelink. And for the time I was there, and I actually forget the specifics, but I was overpaid. I was overpaid in my payroll, in my salary. They fucked up. They paid me too much money. And I genuinely didn't know. I genuinely did not know that I had been paid too much money. I didn't know that. I left Centrelink. I ran out of money a few weeks later, back on the dole, the money's all gone. I get a letter from Centrelink saying, "You owe us $3,000. $3,000. It was heaps. It was like $3,000. And I was like, what are you fucking talking about? I don't have $3,000. And they're like, well, we overpaid you. You owe us $3,000. And I was like, well, I can't fucking pay you. Like what? Like, and they're like, well, you know, you got to give it to us. And I sort of looked into it. I was like, is that fair? Is that right? Is that legal? Can a company do that? You know, if they made a mistake, okay, they made a mistake and paid me too much money. Surely, you know, to my mind, that should be like, wow, well, tough shit. You fucked up. Like if I made a mistake and didn't, like, I don't know, if I called up Centrelink and said, oh, I made a mistake, I was actually eligible for the dole all of last year. Can you back pay me all the dole? They'd be like, no. You made a mistake. You fucked up. If I called, you know, the lotto, if I called the lottery and said, I made a mistake, I was going to bet the numbers that won last week. So can you give me the winnings? I'd be like, no. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. And certainly what I'm saying is not legal. It feels like it morally should be wrong for a company to overpay you and then say, you got to pay us back. Right? If I haven't done anything wrong, but the law is not on my side here. The law says, nah, you got to pay them back. And what I did, but I didn't pay them back, right? I never paid them back, and I won that battle. And here's how I won that battle. I just didn't pay them, and eventually the debt went away. That's right. The debt just went away. And now this is true. This is 100% true. And this is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. Do not do what I do. But I just said I couldn't pay it. I'm like, I can't pay it. And they said, well, what if you go on a payment plan? I'm like, well, I can't. What kind of payment plan, right? What do you want? What do you want from me here? And then I started getting calls from like, you know, and then the debt was like passed on to a credit agency, right? And a credit agency is someone who basically buys debt. They'll go to Centrelink and say, someone owes you $3,000. Okay, we'll pay you $1,000, and then you give us the debt. I don't know if it's $1,000. I don't know I have no idea what fucking percentage they pay. And they say, and then we'll try and recover the debt, and then we make a profit if we recover it, right? That's how those collection agencies often work. And so this collection agency started contacting me, and I talked about this in a show I did once, except I changed the company because I didn't want to explain it. I just wanted it to be nice and clear for the purposes of a joke. But I got an email from them saying, like, you got to pay us this money, blah, 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 blah. I replied saying, I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't know the specifics of what I said, but it was something along the lines of, I'm just not going to pay you. I don't have the money to pay you. I don't think I should have to pay you. Whether it's legal or not, I don't really care. I don't have the money to pay you. I don't have it, and I'm not going to. And even if I did have it, I just wouldn't pay you. I would fucking withdraw my money and fucking burn it before I paid you. I'm just not going to pay you. You can do whatever you want. And I said, like, you want to take legal action? Because they kept saying, you know, we can take further steps. I said, just whatever steps you have to take, go to the maximum now. Just go to the full maximum steps now. Just take, because I don't want, like, you're calling me all the time. Just go to the maximum steps. Ratchet it up another notch and fucking just get it done. Put me in jail, whatever you have to do, just fucking do it. They were fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to contact me right at a time. This was around 2013 now, where I'm just fucking broke. I'd moved to Melbourne. It was a big failure, or at least I felt like it was a failure. I was at an extremely low point in my life. Anyone who saw my most recent show would say that I would know that was the time when I was thinking about topping myself. Don't do that. Call Lifeline, check on your mates. But I was in a bad way, and I just went, fuck it, I don't care. I'm not paying this fucking debt. I was never going to pay it. I'm never going to pay it. And I don't know exactly what I said in the email, but it was words to that effect, was I'll never pay it no matter what happens. And if you have a problem with that, take all the steps you need. Call the cops, fucking do whatever. Put me in behind bars. I'll get 3 square meals a day. I don't give a shit. Fucking do it. Do whatever you want to do. And that was the last I ever heard That was the last I ever heard. And since then, many times since then, I've gotten credit reports and whatever. That debt simply doesn't exist. There's no record of it or whatever. That debt gone. So, that is not advice. I have not given you legal advice. I'm just telling you what happened to me. And now, welcome to the party. Centrelink defeated. Next one.
Died on 9/11. That you're trying to be. Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes. Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this. You are, sir. And you are out of order. I would like to ask him a question, please. You are out of order.
I beat a Mikey fine once. This was ages ago, when Mikey was relatively new. I think I don't know if it was that new, but it was not long after I first moved to Melbourne. Mikey, by the way, is a specific card that you tap on and tap off on a train or a tram, and it is a scam, right? It is one of the biggest scams. This is a classic scam that corporations will do. Now, I think I could be totally wrong, but I feel like one of the first instances of this scam existing is Disneyland, where they had something called Disney Bucks or Disney Money, where you basically go in and you give them $100 of actual money, and then they give you Disney Bucks, and then you can walk around the park and spend your Disney Bucks. And it's the same as regular money. There's a joke in The Simpsons. It's just like regular money, but fun, right? Now, that's a scam. It's a scam to make you basically give them money for nothing, because they know the worst case scenario for them is it's exactly the same as you spending $100, right? The best case scenario for them, and this is what they know, is you will give them $100 and you'll get 100 Disney Bucks back. But they know that they've done the maths. They know a certain percentage of people won't spend all that $100. They'll spend $98 or maybe $50, or maybe they'll just forget about it altogether. Maybe a few people won't even spend it. But they will always make more money than if you just spent $100, right? And they also know too that if you've got the $100 Disney Bucks, if you've got $40 left at the end of the day, you think, I might as well just spend it because I can't spend this anywhere else. So you just spend it, right? It's a way for big companies to go, you give us X amount of dollars and we bet that you won't take the full value from that amount of dollars. Mikey cards, or any card where you have to buy to tap on a train, is the exact same principle. It's them going, all right, people pay $3 for a ticket, but what if we charge them $50 and they buy $50 worth of credit on this card, and then we minus $3 off it every time they tap it? Except, and here's the rub, we know some people will lose their card. Maybe, it has like $5, $6 left. They lose their card. That's gone. That's in the sewer. Now it's just money that we got for free without having to provide them with a ride, right? And also, the Mikey cards, there's always like a fee associated with buying the card itself. So it's basically charging you a fee to then charge you a fee. So many companies have figured out really clever ways of scamming you out of money and charging you fees to charge you money, right? To be like, hey, you're giving us money. What if we charged you a fee to give us the money? That's what a Mikey is. Anyway, I didn't have a Mikey card, and there's the paradox of the fucking Mikey, right? The problem is I didn't have a Mikey card. I had lost my Mikey card, and this was either before the days of having the app associated with it, or I didn't have the app. Either way, I'd lost the Mikey card. I needed a new Mikey card. The problem is the nearest place that I could buy a Mikey card was, I would say, a 45 to 1 hour minute, 45 minute to 1 hour walk from where I was. The easiest and best way to get the Mikey card was to get on the tram, but I couldn't get on the tram without getting a Mikey card, but I couldn't get a Mikey card without getting on the tram. Do you see the paradox? Do you see the problem I was in? So I went, fuck it, I don't know, I'm getting on the tram. And I got a fine. I just didn't say anything. And this is the other thing. Never talk to cops. Never talk to cops. I'm not qualified to give legal advice, but I've heard lawyers say this. Under no circumstances ever do you talk to cops, ever. They're asking me why I didn't get a Mikey, whatever. I just didn't. I just said, just give me the fine. whatever. Like I talk to him. I'm not just going to be silent like a sovereign citizen. I'm like, I don't know. Just give me the fine. Like, don't worry about it. Just give me the fine. Like, I'm not going to do an interrogation here. Just give me the fine. They gave me the fine, and I fought it in court. I ticked the little box to like be like, oh, you can contest this fine. And I just went in. I looked up. I looked up how many, what like kind of kilometer radius I was away from a place that sold Mikey cards. I went and took a photo of. I went into like the service station that was near there to prove that they didn't sell Mikey cards. I'd done all this research on where you could get them and blah, blah, blah. There was nowhere on the tram. There was nowhere at the tram stop. All this stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll win. I have no idea if I'll win. I'm not a fucking lawyer, but I'm going to go into fucking court and I'm going to fucking contest this fucking $100 fine or whatever the fuck it was. And that's the thing. You don't know if you're right or not. The only way you can know is if you go and fucking and battle it out. I didn't know if I was going to win. And all I knew at the very least was by asking for a court date, now you have a year before you even have to pay the fine, because they're like, oh, okay, well, you know, you don't have to pay the fine until the court date, and the court date isn't scheduled for another year because we got a fuck ton of shit on. Always contest a fine. Not legal advice. Not legal advice. But, you know, now I've got a year until I have to pay it. I go into court. It's like this whole thing where like they just have people contesting fines and shit. And I was just sitting there waiting, and then a public prosecutor, not a public prosecutor, they're all public, I guess, just the prosecutor. The prosecutor comes up to me, and she's going along to like several different people who are all just sort of waiting in a line to contest various sort of misdemeanor fines and such, you know, stuff like that, right? Stuff that isn't serious. And she comes up to me and she's like, hey, what's your name? I'm Greg Larson. What's your reference number? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like getting out a clipboard and looking through, and she's going, okay, so what was a Mikey fine? I went, yeah. And she goes, and what are the grounds that you're contesting today? And I said, oh, I'm contesting that there wasn't like, I couldn't buy a Mikey card. There wasn't one anywhere near the station or anywhere near my house. I had to get on a tram until I could buy a Mikey card. And she just went, yeah, cool. We are dismissing all charges. Fine is waived. No need for a court date. We'll just throw it out. Thank you. And she signed something, and I signed it, and I left. And that was it. I didn't even see the inside of a courtroom. All I said was like, basically, I don't think I should have to pay this fine. And she went, yeah, whatever. And then I just didn't. And then I remember reading an article not long after that was saying like, basically everyone who contests a Mikey fine is just all getting thrown out. Like every single one's getting thrown out because they couldn't be bothered. So they're just, yeah, I won. I beat the system. I fucking won. I once had a battle with QML pathology over a stool sample that I had to submit. This was when this was back when I was in Brisbane. I was getting tested for various issues of the bowel. I was worried. I was like, I definitely got colon cancer. I definitely got something wrong. I'm always worried about various different types of cancer. Anyone who knows Greg Larson Law knows that that's one of my main paranoias. I've since had a colonoscopy and turned out that my colon is fucking pristine. But I was doing all these blood tests and all these other tests, and at one point I had to do a stool sample, which is shit from an ass. Shit from an ass is what a stool sample is.
Yeah.
And so they give you a little thing, and I didn't know. This story gets yuck, and you can skip. I reckon 3 to 4 minutes ahead. So the stool sample is like a little cup, and then the lid has like a little scooper on it, and then he's like, the guy goes, just do a shit in something, and then use the scooper to scoop out a bit of it, and then you put it in the cup, right? That's how you do it. I don't know how else to tell you. And I found an old DVD case, and I went, I guess this will have to do. And I did a shit into a DVD case, and then I scooped out some of it and put it in the thing and then closed it up. And then I was just holding this DVD case with the shit on it and I didn't know what to do. So I just sort of slowly closed the case and clipped it shut and then just put it in the bin of the apartment complex in which I lived. So that was that. And then I went down to QML Pathology. I gave them the stool sample. They embraced it with open arms. They took it away. Sample clear. Greg, you're healthy, they said. And then I got a bill for $150. I got a $150 bill. And I was like, wait, what? What the? Rove McManus?
I died on 9/11.
I was like, what are you talking about a bill? This is Australia. What is this, a communist country? I wish.
I died on 9/11. You're trying to be. Do not.
I was like, I didn't understand. I was like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? For non Australian people, you know, you don't often have to pay for medical stuff in Australia. We have a thing called Medicare, right? And certainly I was on the dole at the time and I'd only ever gone to bulk billing GPs at that point. It used to be almost every GP was bulk billing. And now long story short, I basically never paid for a GP in my life. Up to that point, I'd never paid for any kind of test ever. Except for when it was I remember having a CT scan and that was non-urgent. And so I've definitely paid for tests, but only when it's like a sort of non-urgent or elective or whatever kind of thing. And I'd never paid for like a blood test or a urine test or anything like that. I didn't even know that was a thing that would happen, but they said, we're charging you. And then I disputed. I said, you can't do that. That's entrapment. That's you've entrapped me. You've entrapped me to shit into a DVD case and give you the shit. And I feel like it wasn't an elective thing because I was worried I had colon cancer. Yeah, there was no reason for me to be worried, but they didn't know that. All they knew was I was getting a test, like a shit test. And I was like, you've entrapped me because I had like 3 other tests. I had blood test, a urine test, like I had a bunch of tests there, and that was the only one I got charged for. And I said, and I was like, it's not even the fucking money. It's the principle of the fucking thing, right? Because I was saying, look, if you're going to charge me for something, just tell me you're going to fucking charge me for it. Don't just fucking give me test for free and then just give me another test and then go, oh, you got to pay for it. If you just told me at the outset, I would have been okay. All right. I'll get a payday loan. I'll go to Cash Converters. I'll sell them some DVDs and slip in the DVD with the shit in it. The DVD case with the shit in it amongst the DVDs. But I was just mad that they didn't tell me. I was like, you can't do that. You can't just go. And then I was like, and I actually had an argument with a woman on the phone from the collections place. And I was like, from the financial collections place. And I was like, no, but okay, I didn't tell you, but I actually charge $20 a minute to talk to me on the phone. So you actually owe me money now. I didn't tell you that, but you've already done it. So it's too late. You have to pay me. And she was like, don't be a smart ass. And I was like, well, fucking, that's exactly what you've done to me, right? It's exactly what you've done to me. I have no idea if I was in the right or in the wrong, but I just didn't do anything, and that went away.
Police are still searching for the man who shot.
Same with I had debt collectors ring me about a late fee at Civic Video, and I was like, what? And they went, there's a late fee at Civic Video, and I just went, and then just hung up and just never dealt with it. Telstra once. I fucking hate Telstra. And then I was just like, I'm not going to, what? I owe you what? $100? Oh, yeah. And then I just didn't deal with it. And all those, at any time there's been a little debt where I've just gone, okay. And then I just ignore it. It just seems to just resolve itself. That's not legal advice. That's not advice. You shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that's what happened to me. Anytime I had a little debt like that, I'd just be like, oh, and it just sort of didn't happen. I There's a bunch of others. I mean, I did an ombudsman complaint to Menulog. That's the other thing. The ombudsman is like a magic code, right? If you just call up an ombudsman, half the time a company will immediately just relent. Whatever the problem is, that without even discussing it, they'll just go, that's fine. We're not going to deal with an ombudsman, right? That happened to me with Optus. I got an iPhone and I was on a plan and my internet kept cutting out all the time and I was getting bad internet. Like I couldn't get reception in my house and I was like, oh, that's not really fair. You know, I should be able to make phone calls in my house. Like I had to go out of my house and I'm like in the inner city. Like I don't understand. And they're like, oh, sorry, you know, we can't guarantee coverage. And then I just went to an ombudsman and then Optus immediately went, yep, that's fine. We're releasing you from your contract and you can keep the phone and not have to pay it off. Fucking sick. Like I went to an ombudsman about Menulog because they didn't pay me the $45 for a meal that they fucked up. And then as soon as the ombudsman got involved, Menulog were like, damn, here's the money. It's in my account the next day. Recently, I went to the ombudsman about PlayStation because I wanted a refund on the game Forza 5 Horizon because the game fucking sucked. And it didn't tell you there's going to be all this in-game advertising and there was something else that was wrong with it. And like you get the game and then you immediately are like, oh, you drive around. It's like you got to pay extra to unlock this and you pay extra to unlock this. And I went, I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this fucking shit. I played it for like half an hour and I said, no, I want a refund. And PlayStation went, nah. And then I went to an ombudsman and PlayStation immediately went, here's your refund. And people I've seen all over the internet, people constantly going like, you can't get a refund from PlayStation. The second I went to the ombudsman, they just gave me one straight away. And that's the thing. You don't know what your rights are. You don't know what you're entitled to or not entitled to. Just hit up the fucking ombudsman. That's the thing you got to do, right? You just got to fucking hit up the ombudsman or hit up someone or push back in some way. Because like half the time, almost all of these battles, it's just like the second you put any resistance up, they're like, whatever, just take it, just keep the money, just whatever, we don't fucking care, right? You got to fucking do something. And then we come to Patreon, the most recent battle that I have won. Any listeners, long-term listeners, will know my Patreon recently got banned. I was banned from Patreon right before Christmas. I'd just gone to New Zealand. I was about to have a beautiful Christmas with my family, banned from Patreon because I violated the community guidelines. I didn't know what community guidelines I'd violated. They didn't tell me. I sent them emails. They would not reply. They were just simply not replying. Eventually they did reply and they told me you violated community guidelines. I sent another email saying, I want to know what community guidelines I've violated. Like, why have you banned me? I want the page reinstated, or tell me what community guidelines I've violated. Because I've had strikes from YouTube before, from Instagram, from various places for like things like copyright or like this violates our terms of service. I once got my Twitter deactivated because I said something that was probably, something that could be construed as a threat of violence to Scott Morrison or something. I don't know. And each time they've told me specifically what it was, what I did. That sometimes they make you do like a copyright school thing, or you have to tick some boxes saying I understand what is and isn't appropriate or whatever. You might get banned, you might get reinstated, whatever. But they've always at least told you. Patreon didn't tell me shit. And then this is what happened, right? So I contacted them. I said, you got to fucking reinstate the page. Eventually they got back to me and said, no, we're not going to. We've evaluated it. Your appeal is denied. And multiple times they told me your page will not be reinstated. You are banned. You cannot create new pages either. And then they just stopped communicating with me altogether. They never told me what community guidelines I violated. Then all at once, a couple of things happened that makes me think something, right? I got contacted by a journalist from The Guardian. Nothing ever happened with this, but she contacted me and said, hey, I listened to your episode. You got banned from Patreon. I'd love to know why, especially if it was political in nature. Because I said, I think it was political in nature because I'm very critical of Israel. And then I made a one about Susan Ley. And, I just felt like maybe that was part of it. And I said to, this Guardian journalist, I said, I have no idea why they banned me, if I'm being honest. Like, I can speculate, but it's only speculation. And she said, well, no, it's still she said, it's still an interesting story because, you're an artist and your income is tied to the whims of this company, like they can just do whatever they want. I contacted a bunch of places. I contacted the ACCC. I contacted Consumer Affairs Victoria. Consumer Affairs Victoria were like, we can't help you. ACCC said, we can't help you. But VCAT said, we might be able to help you because this sounds like a contract dispute. So I started a case with VCAT, which is the Victorian Contract something authority, tribunal, whatever. They deal with contracts. And this Guardian journalist said, I'm interested in talking about this. I'm going to reach out to Patreon for comment. And on the same day that she reached out for Patreon to comment, I also sent an email to the Patreon community guidelines email, whatever the fuck email, support email I had. I sent an email to them saying that was very legal sounding. And the subject line was notice of demand. And I did need this stuff, right? This was, I just worded it very legal easy. And I have no idea if I'm entitled to any of this stuff, but this was stuff I needed for my VCAT application, right? So I guess I was entitled to it. I don't know. But I said, I need the following 3 things. I need 1, contact information for, Patreon Australia, PTY Ltd. I need a specific reason for why I was banned, like what community guidelines I violated, on which date and why. And then I'm going to need... I don't know. Was that the last thing? There was another thing. I don't know. I'm going to need some other fucking thing. And so the Guardian journalist contacted them. I sent this email, and then the very next day, this was the fastest response I got from Patreon the entire time, was, we have reinstated your Patreon. They still didn't tell me which community guidelines I violated. And that makes me think it was definitely because of Israel.
Israel is committing genocide. Israel is committing a genocide. Israel is an apartheid state.
Prime check on boycott Israel. Prime check on boycott Israel.
Because the thing is, right, if I was banned for, like, I don't know, having too many, like, people getting fucked sounds or saying too many cooked things like Wario has a big cock, it would be pretty easy to just simply say, this is why you were banned, for this reason. But also, I've been doing that stuff for the last fucking 2-3 years, like however long this podcast has been going. Like, my first episode was me and Mark Bonanno going like, fuck my titties, lick my pussy, suck my shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like, that wouldn't have been it. And same with copyright stuff. If I'd violated copyright, which I was sure I didn't, because I fucking make sure I'm doing things that I can use, and that, like a lot of the music you hear, I pay for a subscription to like a audio library. Other stuff, it falls within parody and satire. But it's easy for them to just go, no, it's copyright. Like, it's a copyright issue. But because, there was so many things going on, and there is an effort, right? Like, with artists and performers and creatives trying to have their careers ruined by the Israel lobby in Australia and everywhere, right? That is happening, and we've seen it at the ABC, we've seen it at Adelaide Writers Festival. And on this same day that I sent this email, it was announced that the woman that had been banned from the Adelaide Writers Festival has launched defamation proceedings against the Premier of South Australia. And at the same time as well, another thing happened where someone had been sending emails to conservative politicians in Australia pretending to be me, using my agent's email as the contact information and saying stuff like, I hate Israel and I hate these anti-Semitism laws, right? Someone had been doing that and trying to, as a way of like sort of putting my agent in the middle of it. And my agent said, hey, are you sending these emails to these people? And I was like, no. But I would send an email like that because Israel is committing a genocide.
Israel is committing genocide. Israel is committing a genocide.
And continues. It's crazy, right? Like I keep seeing news going, Israel, like, the deadliest day since the ceasefire. Well, then it's not really a ceasefire, is it? If every day is deadly and it's now a new deadliest day since the ceasefire, you could call it the ongoing genocide.
Israel is committing genocide.
But anyway, that's why I think I was banned. That's why I think. I could be wrong. I could be fucking wrong. But I reckon I'm right. Either way, fucking, you just push back. I pushed back and I got in there and I got it done. And now I'm back on Patreon until I figure out a way. I've been saying this. I figure out a way to start my own sort of website or whatever. As much as I can, I want to try and cut out middlemen from life. But those are the battles I've won. None of those are legal advice or financial advice or any kind of advice. You should never do what I do. Never take what I say seriously. Never be like me. I'm a depressed man. I'm going to a new psychologist tomorrow. I'm on antidepressants. Don't listen to me. But also remember what's going on everywhere in the world right now is you don't know what's legal and illegal half the time. You don't know what your rights are or your rights aren't. You don't know what your rights aren't. You don't know until you test it, until you try and find out, until you say something, until you investigate, until you say, no, I'm not going to do this or I don't want to do this. You got to find out. And half the time, the rules-based order in which we live, it's all just made up. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit. He just goes, well, I'll just do whatever. They're like, you can't do this. And he's like, well, I just did it. What are you going to do, cunt? I just fucking shit my pants and then I fucking killed my own citizens. What are you going to fucking do? And no one's doing shit. They're writing some poems. They're making some posts. They're doing a lot of shit actually over in America. Everyone is protesting. Good on you. Love you. But you know what I mean? At some point, you just got to do something. So whether it's a little thing, whether it's bloody you done a shit in a fucking DVD case, or whether it's you're trying to get your money back from the rental property. Those are all the little stupid, insignificant, dumb battles that I've won in my life. Because I'm a fucking IQ 200 mega mind. Thank you very much for listening to me. Come and see my live shows all around the country. Check out my Instagram where I do where I have the links in the bio. I'm doing live shows in Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, TBC. Being announced more shows in Brisbane and New Zealand. So stay tuned. Anyway, thanks everybody, and have a good. You go back and straight.
The Greg Larson Show. The big unit is ready to go. The Greg Larson Show. Muck around on the Mazapan. A fresh custard in his hand. The greatest podcast in all the land. Greg Larson Show. Yeah. Great, just what we need, another podcast show.